He doesn't belong here. That's what my sister told security at the graduation party. I had been sending her $750 every month and $3,200 every school term to help with her costs. My dad just laughed at me. "You really thought you were welcome?" he said. I didn't argue. I just walked away and texted her. I found out about Susan's graduation party the usual way, by accident. Nobody sent me an invite, no text from Mom asking if I was coming. Not even a quick message from Dad. Just a bunch of pictures thrown into the family group chat, tables outside, navy and gold decorations, and a fancy cake that said, "You did it, Jess." Of course, Aunt Martha had already posted it all on Facebook, bragging about her amazing niece. Susan had graduated from Northeastern Lakeside University. Not a super famous school, but my parents acted like she had won a Nobel Prize. For almost 3 years, I had been paying her rent, $750 every month, plus $3,200 every term for school. My parents called it helping the family, but it was really just me struggling, eating cheap food to make those payments. They never said thank you, never even called. It wasn't really about the money for me. I just hoped maybe they would notice me. Maybe they'd finally care. I was an only child until I was 9, then Susan was born, and suddenly, she was everyone's favorite. That never changed. I became the quiet one who everyone forgot. So when the party pictures showed up, I waited a few days, then asked Mom, "Where's the party?" She replied fast, "Brook Hill, same place we had Vanessa's bridal shower." No explanation. "No, sorry, we forgot to invite you. Just an address." I didn't even ask who was going. I already knew. Uncle Wesley joked about bringing extra chairs. Dad laughed about Grandpa needing earplugs. Everyone was excited. No one mentioned me. I live in a tiny one-bedroom apartment and barely get by. But I own a decent car and I still have some pride. I threw on clean clothes and drove to Brook Hill. I told myself it must have been a mistake. That once they saw me, everything would be fine. When I pulled up, I knew I was at the right place from the familiar cars outside. But no sign of Grandma and Grandpa's car. Weird, because they never miss family parties. At the door, 2 guards stopped me. "This is a private event," one said. "I'm her brother," I explained. They checked my name. After a few minutes, they came back, with Susan, Mom, and Dad. Susan looked like she was going to a fashion show, all dressed up and holding her phone like she was bored. She looked at me quickly, then turned to the guards and said, "He doesn't belong here." At first, I thought she was joking. Then I saw my dad smiling. "You really showed up?" he said. "After everything you've been saying." "I haven't said anything," I said. Then Mom spoke up. "This day was supposed to be happy. We didn't want any problems. I pay her rent, I pay her tuition, and I'm the problem?" Susan rolled her eyes. "You didn't do it for me, you just wanted to control me. You always make it about yourself." "Then you're welcome," I said, without emotion. She walked back inside. My dad shrugged. "Maybe you should have asked if you were even invited." I didn't argue. I just said, "Okay," and left. I drove straight home. When I got there, I sent her a text. "Starting next month, you'll need to cover your own rent, best of luck." That was this morning. 2 hours later, Susan showed up at my door, crying. Not the fake kind, real tears. "Please don't do this," she begged. "I can't afford rent without you." "Why now?" I left her standing there for a minute without answering. Because apparently, people like me don't deserve anything. She had shown up in the same gold dress from the party, her makeup messy. No hello, no how are you. She just walked in and sat down like she owned the place. "I can't pay my rent without you," she said. I stayed quiet. "You don't know how hard this year has been," she went on. "Exams, working 2 jobs, barely sleeping." I leaned against the counter and listened. "You could have warned me instead of just cutting me off," she said. "I didn't drop you," I said. "You did that yesterday, in public." She rolled her eyes. "Oh, that wasn't serious. Neither was your spending plan, apparently." She looked shocked, like I had slapped her. "I didn't enjoy saying it," she said. "I just needed to get it off my chest." She looked around at my small, worn-down apartment. Finally saw the cheap heater, the torn couch. Saw what my life really looked like. "You helped for so long," she said. "Why stop now?" "Because yesterday proved it," I said. "You didn't care, you just said it out loud." She stared at the floor. Then I asked, "Why weren't Grandma and Grandpa at the party?" She didn't answer for a long time. Finally she said, "They weren't invited. Mom said they complain about the music, and Grandpa talks too much." "You mean the man who bought Dad his first car? The one who paid for Mom's surgery?" Funny how people become a problem when they're not useful anymore. She said nothing. My phone buzzed. Blocked number. I ignored it. Then it buzzed again. Voicemail. I played it out loud. It was Grandma. Louis, we weren't invited either. We heard what happened. Your sister said awful things. Your father, he's not who he used to be. We're proud of you. We'll come over soon with muffins and coffee. Susan's face froze. You told them not to come? I asked. It wasn't just me, she said softly. Mom didn't want Grandpa making the party about him. I laughed. So it's okay to ignore people, as long as it's not you. She stood up. That's not fair. Nothing about this has been fair for a long time. At 11:12, I saw their silver car pull into my parking lot. Grandma got out with a pink box of muffins. Grandpa wore his veteran's hat, the one he saves for special days. Susan left without saying much, mumbling about homework. Grandma didn't ask about her. She handed me the coffee, kissed my forehead, and sat down like she had always planned to be there. You don't owe them anything anymore, Grandma told me. Grandpa grunted and added. She called you worthless, but you're the only one who actually did something real without needing praise. For the first time in over a day, I smiled. They stayed for a couple of hours. We didn't talk about the party. We talked about real things, life, memories, little stuff that actually mattered. When they left, the apartment felt even quieter than before, like the air itself was heavy. I sat on the bed, holding my coffee. The box of muffins they brought was still untouched. Susan hadn't messaged me. I knew she was waiting, hoping maybe I'd cool off, or that Grandma would convince me to forgive and move on. But something inside me had changed. I wasn't waiting anymore. At exactly noon, I called my dad. He answered, sounding way too cheerful, like nothing bad had happened between us. Hey, Dan, everything okay? He said. Grandma and Grandpa stopped by, I said, brought muffins. There was a small pause. Oh, that's nice. They weren't at the party yesterday. Yeah, I said flatly. You know how Grandpa gets. I know, he muttered. I didn't waste time. I'm not paying for Susan anymore. No rent, no school, nothing. There was another pause. I could hear kitchen noises in the background, probably Mom heating up leftovers. Louis, he said, trying to sound gentle, you're doing okay, right? No kids, no house payments, you're good with money. So because I didn't screw up my life, I have to fix hers? I asked. That's not what I meant, he said quickly. We just want her to have a good start. I gave her a start, I said. You just laughed. He stayed quiet. I'll tell Mom myself, I added, just wanted you to know. Then I hung up before he could say anything else. I thought I knew what would happen next, but I didn't expect a knock on my door 20 minutes later. It wasn't Susan. It was Olivia, my cousin, holding a plastic dish and looking nervous. Hey, she said, can I come in? She didn't wait for an answer, she just walked inside and sat down. She looked around like she wasn't used to being in such a small place. I'm sorry about what happened yesterday, she said. I raised an eyebrow. I didn't know they'd block you out, she said. When Susan said what she did, I laughed, but not because I thought it was funny, I just panicked. You didn't look uncomfortable, I said. She nodded. Yeah, I'm good at faking it. Then she dropped a bomb. I'm moving next month, she said. Told Aunt Martha I'm done with the family drama. I'm starting grad school in Vermont. I was surprised. Olivia had always seemed quiet and polite. I never thought she would actually leave. Susan's upset, she said. She told your mom you're cutting her off. Your mom's mad, but she doesn't know the whole story. Then Olivia pulled out her phone, tapped a few times, and handed it to me. It was a screenshot of a group chat, Susan, a few friends, and some other person I didn't know. Susan had texted. He really showed up. Told you he would, so desperate to be part of everything. Hope he heard me. He's a loser. He pays my bills and still gets treated like trash. Olivia watched me carefully. She forgot I'm still in that chat, she said. I stared at the screen. I didn't feel angry, or shocked. It just hurt, but it was the truth, finally out in the open. I gave Olivia her phone back. Thanks for showing me, I said. Are you going to show your mom? She asked. I nodded. Olivia stood up, looking lighter somehow. I'm not telling you to be mean, she said. I just think you deserve to know who you've been defending. I walked her to the door and sat down again. Then I opened the family group chat and typed, let me show you what your perfect daughter really thinks of me. And I posted the screenshot. No explanation, just her words. The group chat went completely silent, 10 full minutes. Then Aunt Martha left the chat without saying a word. Olivia sent me a message. Holy. I didn't wait for anyone else to reply. I grabbed my keys, got in the car, and drove straight to my parents' house. No music, no thinking, just driving. Mom opened the door like she had been expecting me. Her eyes were red. I walked right past her without a word. Dad was on the couch, looking like he was about to fake being the victim. Susan wasn't there, probably hiding. I didn't sit down, I just spoke. I told them how it had felt all my life, to be pushed aside, ignored, only noticed when they needed something. How I paid Susan's bills for years and still wasn't even invited to the one day that should have celebrated it. How they just stood there while I was humiliated. I said I was done. Done pretending this was normal. Done defending them. Done lying to myself. Then I told them what I had done. I posted the screenshot on Facebook. I said, no names, but people will figure it out. Dad shifted uncomfortably. Mom tried to say something, but I kept going. I'm putting the full story on Reddit, too. Every time you made me feel like I didn't matter. Let's see how many people believe in your perfect family after that. They didn't answer. As I walked out, I stopped at the door. If you don't like what I wrote, I said, maybe you should have given me better memories. Then I left. When I got to my car, I posted the full story on Reddit. Not for attention. Not for pity. Just because I finally wanted the truth out. I didn't name anyone, but I didn't protect them either. I wrote everything, how I paid for her, how they ignored me, how they laughed when I showed up. Because it was never just about one day. It was about years of always coming last. The post blew up. Hundreds of people commented, sharing their own stories, cheering me on, telling me they wished they had spoken up sooner. But one message stood out. Someone who knew Susan said they saw the post and realized they had been in the same chat too. They said Susan had been bragging for months that I was just her personal ATM. It didn't make me mad. It didn't even shock me. It just confirmed everything. And for the first time in a long time, I felt free. I turned off my phone notifications. Then I called Grandma. She answered on the first ring, like she had been waiting. I posted everything, I said. I told Grandma everything was posted on Reddit, the whole truth. She didn't hesitate. Good, she said. I told her I wasn't going to any more family dinners or holidays, no more sitting quietly while they made fun of me behind my back. I wasn't just stepping back, I was done. I'm not doing this to hurt them, I said, I'm doing it to free myself. Then I said what hurt the most. It shouldn't feel this painful to leave people who never really wanted you. Grandpa got on the phone. That's because you wanted them, he said, that's why it hurts. We sat in silence for a moment, then Grandma spoke softly. You don't have to carry that hurt forever, you can put it down. I thanked them, told them I loved them, and promised to call again soon. They were the only ones I still trusted. After I hung up, something inside me felt different, not fixed, not healed, but like I had finally let go of something heavy. I sat by the window, watching the sky get darker. Then something unexpected happened. My phone rang, a blocked number. I ignored it. It rang again. On the third call, I picked up out of curiosity. It was Carl, an old friend from high school. We hadn't talked in almost 5 years. Bro, he said, are you the Lewis from Reddit? The one who wrote about his family? I was surprised. Yeah, I said. Dude, I read your story, showed it to my sister. She was like, oh my god, that's Lewis from 8th grade. We had no idea you went through all that. Hey, want to grab dinner? My treat. I paused, shocked in a way I hadn't felt all day. Yeah, I said, I'd like that. That night, I sat across from someone who remembered me before everything went wrong. We didn't talk about Susan or my parents. We joked about old movies, how Carl hated his job in HR, and other random stuff. For the first time in a long time, I laughed without feeling like I had to apologize for existing. When I got home, I wasn't angry. I felt like something new had started. I hadn't fixed everything, but I had stopped waiting for them to fix it, and maybe that was enough. Hey, Reddit. I wasn't planning to post a follow-up so soon, but I need to get this out. 2 days ago, I shared my story, how I cut ties with my family after years of being treated like I didn't matter, especially after paying for my sister's housing in college, only to be humiliated at her graduation. I thought it was over. But today showed me that sometimes endings aren't really endings, they're just new beginnings. Since then, I've been quiet, hardly checked my phone, trying to remember what peace feels like when you're not constantly defending people who would never defend you. Grandma and Grandpa have been calling every night. They're the only ones I really want to hear from now. This morning, I went to the store for some basics: bread, peanut butter, iced coffee. While I was checking out, I heard a voice behind me. Danny. No one had called me that in years. I turned. It was Nathan, my cousin. We hadn't spoken in months. He looked nervous, standing there in a hoodie and sweatpants, holding beer and a frozen dinner. I saw your post, he said. Took me a minute to realize it was you. But then I remembered your old email, and the way you wrote, I just knew. I stayed quiet, I didn't know what to say or feel. I laughed too, he said, when Susan called you that name, not because I thought it was funny, I just didn't want to be the only one not laughing. I nodded. I didn't know you were the one paying for her place, or that they didn't even invite you. Then he pulled out a crumpled envelope from his sweatshirt. I brought this, in case I ran into you. He handed it to me, then walked out without another word. When I got back to my car, I opened it. Inside were three $20 bills, $75 total. And written inside the envelope flap was one sentence. One lunch for each month. I acted like you didn't matter. It hit harder than I expected. I didn't need the money, it wasn't about that. It was about someone finally admitting they saw me, and ignored me, and now they were trying to make it right. It made me wonder, how many others knew what was happening all along, but stayed quiet anyway? That silence, it cuts deep, too. I didn't message Nathan back, not because I was mad, I just didn't know what to say. Part of me still wants nothing to do with any of them. But another part thinks, maybe it doesn't have to be all or nothing, maybe some people deserve another chance. When I got home, I called Grandma and told her what Nathan did. She wasn't surprised. Some people need more time to grow a backbone, she said, doesn't mean they never will. I told her the truth, writing the post, cutting ties, it didn't feel like revenge. It felt like grief. That's because you wanted it to get better, she said, not fall apart. And that stuck with me. So here I am now, holding an old envelope from someone I thought didn't care, wondering what comes next. I don't think this story is over yet.